Kia ora, good evening. Southern District Police will be out in force this Labour weekend, monitoring driver behaviour. Extra police staff have been rostered on, and drivers can therefore expect a high level of visibility of police staff on the roads. Police will be focusing on excessive speed, drinking and driving, and also checking that everyone travelling in a vehicle is wearing their safety belt correctly. There'll be a reduced speed tolerance over the weekend, and a number of mobile speed cameras will be operating on the highway network. Anyone travelling 4K or more over the permanent posted speed limit will be liable for an infringement notice. The official holiday weekend began at 4 p.m. and ends at 6 a.m. Tuesday morning. A Queenstown Lakes housing accord has been signed between Housing Minister Nick Smith and Mayor Vanessa van Uden. The accord is expected to provide 1,300 new homes over the coming 3 years. Dr Smith says the Queenstown Lakes district is one of the 5 least affordable housing areas in New Zealand, with a median house price of $664,000. He says the accord aims to deliver a 20% increase on the number of houses that have been built in the area in the past, and accordingly it will improve both supply and affordability in the region. The accord, ratified by the Queenstown Lakes District Council at the end of August, sets a target of 350 new sections in dwellings consented in its first year, 450 in its second, and 500 in its third. New health and safety rules are pending, which could affect the liability of employers who operate from earthquake-prone buildings. Margot Sutherland spoke to Helen Young of the Otago Southland Employers Association to find out more.
Primary issues are going to be around the building safety, and that's a responsibility for the building owner. But where the Employers Association is particularly concerned is that many of our clients, employer clients, are going to be renting buildings, taking leases of buildings. And in the case of an employer, they have very specific obligations under the Act to provide a safe workplace for their staff. So that means, and has always meant, that employers have got to be very conscious about what hazards are in the workplace, and if the building that they're working from, that staff are operating from, isn't safe, then that's a pretty significant issue, and so there would be some primary liability and responsibility on the employer. But under the legislative changes in 2015, the ones that are being promoted now, these are likely to be significantly ramped up. We're talking potentially in the $300,000 to $600,000 range, depending on what level of involvement and what seniority and what responsibility you might have. And everyone wants their staff to go home safe at night. So there's absolute consistency, unity, I think, in every workplace. We set out to manage, eliminate, isolate, deal with hazards and keep everyone safe. I think that's the name of the game.
Revealing the habits and lifestyle of New Zealand's most popular game bird could provide important sustainability insights for the breed. The 2-year study into the mallard duck is around halfway through, and already researchers have learned a high proportion of birds are killed by predators.
The mallard duck is in the sights of researchers who are looking at breeding territories, nesting habits, egg and hatching numbers, as well as duckling and hen survival. Fish and Game are undertaking the 2-year study using radio transmitters to track and gather information.
It's really looking at all the background to their breeding, the sort of breeding territories they select, the habitat they use for nesting, how many eggs they have, what proportion of those typically hatch, and then following the ducklings through.
The mallard is our most significant game bird nationally, and it's hoped the findings will help better manage them in the future.
A key part of managing any species that you harvest is to ensure that you don't over-harvest those birds. We've got more and more mallard hunters in Southland, or duck hunters, every season, which is great, but we need to ensure that our harvest is sustainable.
The study will enable the building of a population model and will better enable Fish and Game to estimate how many can be safely harvested each hunting season.
We caught 60 birds at the end of the duck season, basically 60 hens, and we fitted internal transmitters in those, and then we also caught another 22 and fitted external transmitters subsequently, so 2 different modes of attachment. But we're following the birds, with each transmitter has its own unique radio frequency. We program the radio frequency into the receiver, and we can track it down from there and work out the bird's position and identify the bird, and then follow the bird from there.
Assisting in the study is student Erin Garrick as part of her master's project.
I'm specifically looking at the movement and survival of the ducklings post-hatching, so how far they're travelling after hatch and what sort of habitats they're selecting, and then relating that to their survival.
Already findings show a range of predators can affect the survival rates, with a number of hens being killed on the nest.
Some of these have been from either a stoat or a ferret, and then most of them it seems to be feral cats, and then we've had some also killed by hawks, and we have had some game cameras on some nests, and we have filmed some rats and cats kind of checking out nests once the hen is no longer there, and then also we've had pictures of a hawk coming in and pulling out eggs and then trying to eat them, but dropping them in the creek and pulling out more and kind of destroying the whole nest.
What about farm dogs?
Yeah, there's a few of those as well. Neighbourhood pets.
The study is relatively expensive and time consuming, and at this stage it's unclear whether it will continue after next year. Margot Sutherland, South Today News.
After the break, University Challenge set to be back on our screens after 25 years, and we have the week that was. Welcome back. 25 years since last on New Zealand television, University Challenge, the general knowledge contest among New Zealand's universities, is set for a return next month with a brand new series screening on Prime.
Executive producer Tom Conroy says he's confident the time is right for the show's reintroduction, given the current popularity of quiz shows. The show takes the same format as First Time Round, though today's version is more relaxed and viewer-friendly, although traditionalists will still enjoy all the regular show features, such as the starter for 10. The round-robin competition, followed by semis and a final, were recorded over 31 episodes, with Conroy impressed with the talent, saying students really got into the spirit of the event, creating their own fun, yet keeping a competitive edge. An agreement for Prime to broadcast the show ensures the program will have a great chance to prove itself nationwide. While the exact dates and times are yet to be confirmed, University Challenge is coming to Prime in November.
The Consumer Price Index, or CPI, increased 1.0% in the year to the September 2014 quarter. Housing and household utilities was the main contributor in the latest year, with housing rentals up 2.2%, newly built houses up 4.8% and electricity up 3.7%. Cigarette and tobacco prices increased 11.6%, influenced by an increase in excise duty in January. Audiovisual and computing equipment prices were down 9.8%. This proved to be the main downward contributor, with lower prices for a range of consumer electronic goods. And petrol prices were lower than they were this time last year, down 1.8%. The Invercargill Public Library is to get an upgrade, and the City Council is reaching out to the community for ideas. Throughout next week, there'll be staff on hand to take members of the public through the options and preliminary ideas for the upgrade, which is expected to cost around the $400,000 mark.
The library hasn't had an upgrade for 25 years, and so what we're trying to do is modernise it and update it so that then it allows for people to use their technological devices, or allows to use the library in a different way than they have previously.
So those are the major changes, aren't they? That obviously that technology, and is this the way that other libraries are going?
Absolutely.
What you're looking at?
Yes, it's an international trend, and we are going to open up the foyer area to make it so that then it's more part of the library and it's more family friendly, so you can wander around the whole ground floor and then issue at the end of that.
What you're going to be consulting with the public? You obviously want to hear their input. I mean, they are the users, aren't they?
Absolutely, and we really want to hear what people have got to say. We want them to look at the different options that we're proposing and ask us about them, but also give us their views, because as you say, they are the users, and we want to be able to facilitate what's going to be best for them.
And so there are a few consultation sessions like this coming up.
Yes, throughout the week we've got 3-hour sessions each day until next Saturday. So
a recent decision, or was it always sort of planned that something would be done?
Oh, it's been planned for the last couple of years, and so we've been working in the background, coming up with ideas, consulting our staff, and we have consulted the public in the past as well. And interestingly enough, in the recent council survey that they did, all of the things that the public wanted are things we're addressing within this. So we're really pleased that that's the case.
We're talking about new technology before, but people still like to hold a book, don't they?
They still love to hold a book, and that will always be the case. But we just have to allow for a wider diversity of ways that people access information and read.
That's all from the news team this week. Sport's up next, but before that we have the week that was. Have a safe and relaxing Labour weekend.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Here come bad news, talking this and that. Well, give me all you got and don't hold it back. Well, I should probably warn you, I'll be just fine. No offense to